Grace and peace to you from God who knows you, sees you, and hears you. Amen. Have you ever been in a situation in which you needed to speak up? Maybe something was placed on your heart and in your mind, and you really wanted to share it with others. Or you were in a situation in which you really felt like your opinion should matter, that you really had something valuable to share with others. Or maybe a time when your moral compass was telling you that something was wrong and you needed to say something about it. I'm wondering, friends, did you speak up? Or did you remain silent? I've had a lot of moments like these in my life. And friends, to be honest with you, I often remained silent for a whole host of reasons. For fear that no one would listen to me, or because I didn't want to rock the proverbial boat or cause trouble. In these moments, silence felt safer. I often remained silent because I didn't value my own voice. I was not courageous enough to speak. Now, on the flip side, I'm wondering, what does it feel like when someone listens to you? You feel heard. You feel understood. You feel valued. Sometimes that can feel freeing, right? Because you feel supported. You feel cared for. Well, recently I was in a situation in which something that I perceived as inappropriate was said to me. And I was talking about it with someone else later on, and their response to me was, "I'm sorry that happened to you." Not helpful. It was actually kind of patronizing in the moment, or it felt patronizing to me. So that conversation left me feeling more frustrated, alone, and unsupported. Now, a few days later, I was talking to a bunch of different friends about this situation, and each of them took the time to really listen to me, to understand where I was coming from, to hear my emotions, to understand my experience. And because of those conversations, I felt like I had allies in that situation. And my friends weren't even a part of the situation. All because they had the humility to listen to me. Our story here for today from 2 Kings is all about speaking up and listening. And I think we're going to find that these two things really go hand in hand. They're important skills for us to have in our relationships with each other and our relationship with God. So let's start with talking about speaking up. Did you notice who spoke up in this story? An unnamed young girl held captive in a foreign land. Again, I think it's important for us to remember that women, particularly young women, were not held in high regard during this time. And that's clearly illustrated by the fact that neither this young girl nor Naaman's wife are given names. Because women were viewed as property, as less than, their contributions undervalued, their voices ignored, or silenced. But with courage and her faith to back her up, this young girl speaks up. Despite having absolutely no control over her life, she uses her voice here because she has a solution to Naaman's problem. So what can we learn from this young girl? Yes, she speaks with courage, but she also speaks with compassion and empathy. Naaman, albeit a powerful and influential man, he has a skin disease that probably left him in pain, in isolation. So with some compassion and empathy for him, she speaks up about the power of God's healing. As I mentioned before, she also speaks because of her faith in God. Episcopal Bishop of Washington, Marianne Edgar Buddy, would say, quote, "When the call to be brave comes, we should trust more in the Spirit than in ourselves." And that's exactly what's happening here when this young girl speaks up. She trusted where and how God was leading her in her life. And with that faith in God, she used her voice. So this begs a question for us now. Where and how might God be leading you and encouraging you to speak up? Especially from a place of empathy and compassion for the experiences of others. This story is also about listening. Who has the humility to listen in this story? Well, Naaman's wife and Naaman. The wife listens to this young girl, and Naaman to his wife, who shares hope for his healing. Though, it does take Naaman a little bit longer in the second half of our story. Did you catch that? He's kind of a jerk, right? He's a jerk about Elisha's instructions here to go and wash in the Jordan River. His response is kind of arrogant and demeaning. Aren't there better rivers in my home where I can go and wash and be made clean? Did you catch who spoke up? Yet again, it's the servants. His servants encourage him to listen to what Elisha has to say, and Naaman finally has the humility to listen to them. His own transformation occurs because he listens to what others, those often unseen, ignored, and disrespected in society, have to say. As it takes courage to speak up, it also takes humility to listen. In fact, research has been done to show that humility is necessary for good listening skills. Humility looks like curiosity, that we can learn from anything and anyone. It looks like understanding that we are a part of something bigger than ourselves, that we are interconnected, and that we need one another. It looks like acknowledging that we are imperfect and we have strengths to offer others and the world. Now, as I thought about humility this week, friends, and those things that I just described, I couldn't help but think about one woman who really embodied humility in her life and in her career. And that is Jane Goodall, who died recently. Goodall was raised in a Christian family, and she went on to become one of the most famous scientists and researchers of our time, most notably with her work with chimpanzees. Quote, "When you realize that you are a part of a greater whole, that you are just one small piece of a vast and beautiful tapestry, then you walk more gently upon the earth." Jane Goodall's humility came out of a sense of awe for God's creation, for its creatures, and for other people. Goodall often talked about the importance of listening to God's creation and paying attention, really seeing what was around her. Quote, "Listening with patience and seeing with care are the first steps toward understanding. And understanding is the soil where compassion grows." That's beautiful. Humility, listening, understanding, and compassion. Transformation is possible when those things are in the mix. We saw that in our story from 2 Kings. So what does that mean for us? Friends, oftentimes it feels like our world is really devoid of those things. Just watch the news, read a newspaper, scroll social media. Our world needs humility, listening, understanding, compassion. Transformation is possible. Healing is possible with these ingredients. How might God be calling you to listen with humility? Something Jane Goodall also taught was our ability to affect small change in our corners of the world. And that's exactly what this young girl does when she uses her voice. Transformation in one man's life, physical healing, and a new relationship with God. Speaking up and listening with humility are just small acts that we can do in our everyday lives to bring about change, to bring about healing for other people and for ourselves. So I want you to just think small, friends. Your corner of the world. What small change might you make by using your voice and by listening carefully? As I reminded you a couple of weeks ago, I'm going to remind you again, friends. We have a God who sees, knows, and hears. And we see that very clearly in our story from Luke. Jesus sees and hears these men in need of healing, these men who were created by God and loved by God. You too were created by God, so you are intimately known. You are seen by God, whose eyes see everything and everyone with love. And you are heard by God, who hears every word you speak, every word you pray. You are known, you are seen, you are loved. May we share those same things in our small corners of the world with courage and humility. Amen.